Hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I am a regular dude walking in the Word. Hey, we're going through Ephesians right now, and we're in the section where we're talking about marriage. We talked about how wives are supposed to submit to your husbands. The next day we talked about how husbands are supposed to love their wives as Christ loved the church. That's a huge, huge thing. All right. And then yesterday we started talking about the two shall becoming one flesh. And that's taken from Ephesians 5, verse 31. So let me read that. Let me get my glasses here. Ephesians 5, verse 31 says, "For this reason a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh." Okay? So we talked about that yesterday with Miles Monroe's book, and the two people have to be strong, independent Christians before they can become married, because they're two people and they're going to become one flesh. And if you have a weak person that's relying on the other person, you're going to collapse that marriage. All right. Now, I wanted to show you another principle today. Is this? I have a tree here. These are branches of a tree. Does anyone know what kind of tree this is? Anyone? Yeah, I'll let you look at the branches there. Any guesses? No? Well, this is a marriage tree, okay? And you're thinking, well, Todd, I've heard of oak trees and pine trees and all that, but a marriage tree? That doesn't exist. Well, let me tell you, it does exist, okay? Scientifically, there's no tree. If you go to the Forest Service and go, hey, I'd like you to plant a marriage tree, they're going to go, you're nuts, there's no marriage tree. However, there is what I call a marriage tree. What happens is this: you have two trees, and this happened on our property. We have two trees. If you look at this tree here, it's a little bit different. This branch, same tree, and then this branch, two different branches of the same tree. What's happened is this: you've had two trees that were growing, and they were growing right next to each other, and they started growing together, and they grew entwined to each other. Okay, so this happened here at our house. I've seen it on my runs, the two trees, and you'll see like an oak tree with this palm tree growing out of it. You know, that it got all entwined like that. And then I've even seen it hiking and stuff like that. So these two trees, they started out independent, okay? There were two strong trees. We talked about this yesterday. Two strong trees grew independent, and then they grew and they got intertwined with each other, and they became one tree, okay? And so you see that tree now, and it's what I call a marriage tree. You have the husband, you have the wife, they're all together, okay? It's now one tree. The problem here is this: if we decide that I don't want this one tree anymore, I just want this tree. The problem is, when I take that one part of the tree out, I will either kill both trees, end up killing both trees, or I will severely damage the tree. That it will definitely hurt it. Okay. And if it does survive, it will survive with a severe handicap, okay? Because I've had to cut into that tree to get the other tree out. They're so intertwined with that. And that's what happens when we have a marriage, and God has called us. It says the two shall become one flesh. And that's like those two trees were independent and they became one flesh. They're all together now. And you know, it says what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. We say that in our wedding vows. So when God has put that together, and you take it apart, you're going to create a huge amount of damage, okay? And that's what we've done with divorce. We think, oh yeah, I'll divorce that person, and there will be no repercussions to it. Well, that's wrong, because me taking these two trees apart like that, there's going to be huge repercussions. There'll be, if they survive, they will be severely damaged. One will definitely be killed, okay? And then the other will be severely damaged. But you're not going to separate those two trees out and then have like two perfect trees. There's damage that takes place from that. And that's the reality of divorce. When divorce happens, damage will happen too. And that's a result of that. Okay, God never intended. When you read in the book of Genesis about creation, God didn't say, "Oh yeah, I want you get married. And if it doesn't work out, then go ahead and get divorced." Never says that at all. It comes up later with Moses, and Moses allows that to happen. And then Jesus talks about that and says, "Hey, Moses allowed that to happen because your hearts were so hard." Okay, and Jesus says it was never God's intention. He says it from the beginning, from creation. It wasn't God's intention for divorce to happen. It was, for you to stay married. So one thing here, before you get married, make sure that you should be married, because once you get married, if you're going to be, and you decide, oh, this isn't what I wanted really, then you're doing damage to it. Okay, as long as these two trees are apart, they can stay apart, but once they come together, they're there forever. Okay, so those are I wanted to show those two principles to you. The first principle, that you need to stand independent, a strong, good Christian, independent of each other before you're married. But then once you are married with the marriage tree, you can't take that apart unless you do some serious damage to it. And that's God's intention for marriage. It's such a tight bond that if you take that apart, you will have a lot of damage to it. Okay, God does forgive, and God does provide forgiveness, but there's still repercussions of our decisions that we make. Okay, that's it on marriage. We're going to be moving on tomorrow to children. How about that? Thank you for watching. I'm a regular dude walking in the Word, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we continue our journey through Ephesians. Lord's blessing. I'll see you then.